Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Wood Shop, howdy! Today we have a piece of wood. I don't know what kind of wood. Came from Dave, Calmwood Creations. He usually marks them, so since he didn't mark what kind of wood this is, I'm guessing he doesn't know either. I can tell you that it's heavy. It feels very dense, very hard. I can see a whole lot of woodpecker holes in it. I see a really odd shape. Take a better look at it. Many of the comments are always about, gee Phil, you take a piece of firewood and you turn it into something else. Well, I guess that's true, but I don't look at it as firewood. I look at it as an opportunity to turn something on the lathe. I like to keep a lot of nature in my pieces, so that generally includes bark. If there's good tight bark, I'm gonna make every effort to keep it. Now I could, so obviously this will be the top where the bark is. We want to keep it. I want to keep it. I've got some choices. I've got a flat bottom here, if we call that the bottom, and I can turn a bowl. Problem is there's no bark on this side. It's just bare wood. And to me, to have bark on one side like this and bare wood on the other side probably wouldn't look that great. So, but if I turn it on end like this and make this the bottom about here, now I've got what will be a flat bottom along there and all the bark on the top. It'll be a shallower bowl, but it'll still be a bowl and it'll be cool. And because it's nice tight bark and beautiful wood, I think it'll end up being a nice piece. So I'm going to take this over here in the drill press. I'm going to put a 2x4 under here to block this up so that it'll set flat. I'm going to clamp it down hard. I'm going to drill a large flat bottom hole here for my chuck jaws to set against. I'm going to drill a hole in the middle of that for my woodworm screw. We're going to get it mounted up on the lathe and watch this turn into something. Well, it took a little doing, but I've got it mounted up on the woodworm screw. I hope I didn't drill my hole too deep for the woodworm screw. I drilled it deeper than I meant to. Yes, I know how to mark them. Yes, I know how to drill a hole to the proper depth. I just take a shortcut. And look at the time, it's 2:45 in the afternoon. But you know what? I'm getting started. I got it mounted up. It's going to become something. Let's find out what it is. We're going to be turning at 380 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. I'm trying to get a big enough flat spot here for a tenon or a recess or something. I got lots of room over here, but nothing over here yet. But we're getting there, but of course it's getting thinner as we go. Let's see if I can pick the speed up again. About 500. Yeah, I might have drilled that hole too deep. I knew I was going to have to remove a lot. I didn't know it was going to be that much. I'm going to start thinning down the ends. I need to leave some thickness here for a bowl, but I'm going to try and thin down the ends a little bit so it looks like something. After I fix this. And now we got a hole in it over here. One of those woodpeckers got a little carried away, didn't he? Well, that, of course, isn't particularly attractive. This is pretty nice over here. The ends are pretty good. That kind of not so hot. it'll work this way. There's plenty of support. We got 3/4 of the piece with support. It'll stand up, but it doesn't look great, does it? The only thing I can do is keep going up and have a shallower bowl. It's already going to be pretty shallow, but more shallow won't hurt too much. But I could go sharpen up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can get there from here. I think we're kind of stuck with that. I know you're thinking, boy, that's ugly, Phil. It should have just remained firewood. Maybe. Well, I am going to go sharpen up. I'm working too hard. I'll be right back. Can you see that? If your tools aren't that sharp, you're not having any fun. That's just razor sharp. And it just does a nice job. It makes turning fun and easy. If you're not getting that, you're just having a hard time. I just don't like it. I'm gonna keep working at it, but you see we're losing depth here quickly. Let's see if I can pick the speed up any. No, about 600. I just about don't have much base left here, as you can see. I keep cutting it away, trying to get at that. Look at that. Look at that. We connected it. I should quit there and just call myself lucky. Yep, we're going with that. Just the way it is, that's all. I'm just trying to sure scrape my poor tool work out of there. It's difficult when you only have two wings to touch, so I think I can just sand that out of there. I don't think it'll hurt anything. I'm just about going to have to leave that, so I'm talking myself into it as I'm telling you about it. I'm just about going to have to leave it because I think I drilled that woodworm screw hole too deep. And if I'm going to have a bowl in the top, I'm going to have to do some turning because that bark is pretty thick. So maybe we're going to leave that. My God, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. So now I'm dressing it up nicely in case I have to leave it. And I'll reach across the camera and I'll put a little groove in there. And another one over here. Oops. Well, that's not very good. Well, still, Boy, it's like somebody else working on the lathe today, isn't it? Anybody know what kind of wood that is? Dave, look familiar now? I don't know. Could possibly be hickory. I don't know, but time for sanding. I did a little bit of spot sanding on the bottom to get rid of some of the heavier tool marks. And I sanded here and here. Those are unturned parts that still have some saw cuts in them. I kind of like to leave the saw cuts, so I just lightly sanded it. You can still feel the saw cuts, and we'll be able to see them a little bit when the finish is on there. I'm going to start sanding with my Sandoflex. I'm going to sand just around this edge reel here, right here, because the bark is quite sharp, and I want to get it cleaned up so I don't hurt myself when this thing comes around and smacks me. After I'm done with that, I will go to my 2-inch sanding disc at 80 grit, and I'll have the lathe spinning in reverse at about 380 RPM, and I'll work up through 400 grit on the bottom, all the turned parts, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. And speaking of these, I'm not sponsored. I don't get paid anything to tell you this. I'm just telling you that if you like a Sandoflex like this, or most likely a plastic one, they're plastic now, and in my opinion they're a whole lot better because they're a whole lot lighter. The best place to get them is supergrit.com. They have the best selection and the best prices on the refills and on the unit itself. Don't buy them off of eBay. Those guys are charging way too much. Again, this is not a commercial. I'm just telling you because a lot of people like to buy these. It's kind of interesting. I've seen quite a few comments, and I've heard from Supergrit that you guys, my viewers, are responsible for them to continually run out of stock. Apparently you do like them. I've always said I would not turn this kind of stuff. I wouldn't turn what I turn if I didn't own one of these things. They're just incredible. And I have a video on how to fill and feed this stuff. There's a big loop inside here, and you just loosen this nut and feed these out. I've got a video on it. Take a look at it. But that's the best place to get it, supergrit.com. Again, they are not a sponsor. I get nothing to tell you that. I'm just telling you because so many people want them, because they are about the handiest things for sanding ever made, in my opinion. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then again with the lathe spinning in reverse at 380. And I guess I'll sand this in hopes that I'll be able to remove it, but if I can, at least it'll look good. So I'll be doing that up through 400 grit. I'll bring you back here in a bit, and we'll put some, I don't know, sanding sealer on there probably. See you in a bit. Okay. Let's see what we got. I'm applying sanding sealer. This is shellac-based sanding sealer called Zinsser Seal Coat. And it's good stuff. And it's getting hard to find and expensive. Holy smokes. I just went down and bought a quart of it. I used to get it for $9.95 at Fred Meyer. I don't know if anybody has any Fred Meyers around. That's a Kroger, part of the Kroger chain. I used to get it for $9.95. Now it's $30 with tax. I think it was $31 with tax. Oh, this is going to finish up real nice. I'll put a second coat of this on, and 2 coats of shellac applied exactly the same way, so I won't show you that. Looks just like this. Just putting it on with a rag. 2 coats of sanding sealer, 2 coats of shellac. I'll bring you back and we'll start working on the inside. And we're going to have to do some real careful measuring with how deep I drilled my woodworm screw hole, and if it's in this or if it's still in that. Okay, see you back here in a bit. I just spent a lot of time measuring from the bottom of that hole to the bottom of the tenon that I usually remove is about 1/16 of an inch. So that means when I get to the bottom of this hole, I can't turn anymore. But I need to get to the bottom of the hole, or it's going to look like a hole in the bottom of the bowl. It won't go all the way through, but it'll still look like a hole with a bottom in it. So I'm going to have to be really careful. And then in addition to that, if I stick this in here on the thin part of this right here, the thin part of the top, that's only about 1/4 inch. So there's not going to be much turning going on here. I'm just going to open it up a little bit. I can go a little deeper if I include what was the base and now is above the tenon. I'm just not going to be able to do any more turning on the bottom at all. No removing of anything. So it's just going to be really tight, and I'm just going to have to really pay attention. So I need your help. Cheer me on. Come on, Phil. You can do it, buddy. You can do it. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. We're going to be turning out, I forgot. So let's check. We don't want it vibrating too much. So about 550 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gauge mask, and face shield on. I want to be sure I'm not getting to the outside edge here. That's about far enough right there. And I'm going to have to keep looking back here to see where that base, which was going to be the base, which is now above the tenon. It's right here. The edge of that is right here. I could go deeper. Obviously, I can go to the bottom of the hole, but not here I can't. Only here. Not here. Here. I hope you're following all that. You see my problem? That's the only place I have any depth, as in what was going to be the base. And below the base, of course, is the tenon that I usually remove that I can't remove today because we need it because it's the new base. So I haven't clamped onto it too tightly, I hope. So my only depth is here. And then here we have a beveled edge too, so I can't even go out as far as that. Boy, I really blew this one, didn't I? But you know what? If we can keep it together, it's going to be a cool looking piece. I'm pretty sure of that. What the heck, we got a 1/16 of an inch to deal with. Plenty of room. Problem is I can't see here and behind there at the same time. I guess I could put a piece of tape on here. It's still kind of a guess where that is, but I can't come out past the edge over here. And even that's pushing it. I need to check right here. Yeah, we're okay there. We're doing okay. Just got to get to the bottom of the hole without going through it. I'm just checking my safety points here. Yeah, see, that's about 3/16 of an inch, and that's just outside of what would have been the base. So really all we got to do now is get rid of that hole. And I have some real smooth cuts all the way around here. Almost doesn't need sanding, but we're not to the bottom of that hole. So I'm going to try and shear scrape my way out of that. And you might be saying, well, why don't you just use a scraper, Phil? Well, because I can get a smoother cut with pure scraping from a gouge than I can from a scraper. But I will take your advice just right there in the middle. I think I'll use this one, a little bit smaller one. That's a son of a gun to get rid of, isn't it? I don't know if I could sand that out of there or not. That's a pretty narrow little spot for a 2-inch disc to get into. I need to check again with my extra scraping. Yeah, we're okay there. We're okay there. On my shear scrape again, it's better. That's it. I quit. Time for sanding. Now, I was already able to sand a little bit of the edges of this with my Sandoflex when I was working on the other side on the bottom. But now I'll finish it up, and that's 180 grit, and I'll do all of that, even though I've already done some, and I've already put a little bit of sanding sealer on there. I want to get it better and get another coat on there. So that's 180 grit on the bark, and that's as fine as I'll go on that. And then I'll switch to my 2-inch disc at 80 grit and sand all the turn parts on the inside, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. I'll do just a little bit more of that, but that cleans it up real nice, smooths it out so that it feels good, but it doesn't change how it looks. Pretty good tool. And then with the lathe spinning forward at about 360. Oh, got my drill going the wrong way. Drill going forward, lathe going forward. Now I just have to make sure I don't sand through the bottom. And I think I'll just go ahead and put the sanding sealer and shellac on there. I won't show you that. I showed it to you on the bottom. So I'm just going to do some sanding sealer and shellac. I'll bring you back here in a little bit and we'll take a look at it. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very much. We need to know what kind of wood this is, and maybe more viewers can tell us more kinds of wood. Well, here it is. One unknown wood. Fogwood, found on ground wood. I don't know what it is. Dave might know. You see the little pinhole? See that pinhole in there? I told you that bottom was thin, didn't I? It's a teeny weeny little pinhole. Right in the bottom. I don't care. Doesn't bother me at all, and I'm keeping this. I really like this one. Took a little doing to get where we got, but it finished up beautifully. First time I ever didn't remove a tenon, so for those that have asked, why do you always remove the tenon? Why don't you just use it? I did. There you go. That's the first and last time you'll ever see me do that. This should have been the base. It should be sitting on this. But because of that pinhole, I couldn't remove this, so we'd have had a big old hole. No, I didn't sign it. That's because I'm keeping it. It's not going anywhere. I know who made it. And also I can't sign it because I put shellac all over it, and ink won't stick to shellac. I will put my logo on there. I'll burn it on with my laser engraver, but I think it's beautiful overall. I wish it would stand up like that, but it won't. It's way too thin for that. It's just a cool looking piece of art, nature's art. What do you think? Let me know what you think. Thank you, Dave, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I try to put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.